Hi.
Hello. It's night 3 of the Christmasing. The Christmasing 2.
I can't. I have no
Christmasing 2 night
fingers.
3.
Like,
It looks like you're doing something inappropriate. We have blankets because it's cold. Okay, it's not. Actually, it is cold. It's not snowing in Northern Ireland, but we have economy 7 heating, which is the worst heating, so.
it's expensive and shit.
Yeah. It's like not real heat. But what did we watch?
We watched the Muppets Christmas thing without John Denver and without Michael Caine.
The Muppet Family Christmas. This actually was a made-for-TV special that aired in 1987. And we had it on VHS, like most things. And I said, tonight we're gonna watch a good one. I feel so bad for the past 2. I've scheduled a good one. And what was your assessment of that?
It's the Muppets, so it's automatically better because the Muppets are good. It was a bit of a. It was basically like an MCU crossover, but of various Jim Henson things.
Yeah, like all the Sesame Street gang shows up caroling.
Yeah.
Like, hey everyone, it's Sesame Street,
And
folks.
then the Fraggles, and well, Doc's one of the main characters, and then the Fraggles turn up. So it's like I can't think of any other Jim Henson ones who could have turned up apart from film characters, but
Yeah.
it was like a big 3-way crossover.
Oh, no. Okay, it's fine. Yeah, so basically the framing device of this is that Fozzie Bear and Kermit and some of the Muppet cast of... Oh no, you're moving it. There we go. They're going up to Fozzie's mom's farmhouse where he grew up for Christmas. He doesn't bother telling his mom, and she's actually on her way out to California to spend her Christmas in Malibu, and she's rented the house to Doc from Fraggle Rock and Sprocket. And then everybody shows up, and she, like, for some reason decides just not to go on her holiday.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, I've got guests.
And then Fozzie and all the Muppets turn up, and all the other ones turn up. And so poor Doc, who has Airbnb'd this farmhouse,
really has
the place completely covered in, like, little fuzzy things.
Which he does take in stride, pretty much.
Although he does just... his entire way he's written his performance is just regular guy interacting with Muppets, and he's just like,
alright, guess that's a thing. Like, there's a part where he says he'll go out and look for Kermit's friend, and he says, well, the first thing you need to know is she's a pig. And he goes, right, well, a few hours ago, that probably would have seemed strange to me.
You know, there's a wonderful bit when he's talking with Bert and Ernie.
Oh, yeah, then all the Sesame Street people come in.
And he's just having this conversation. Every single thing Bert or Ernie says is like, you know, the thing that Doc said, oh, that begins with the letter ... And this goes on for a little bit, and then finally, Bert or Ernie explains that this in Sesame Street, this is small talk.
Yeah. He's like, he says, is this some kind of game? Where we come from, this is small talk. And I'm like, it is, because it's educational on Sesame Street. And the Swedish chef turns up, and he invites a turkey who, in a really weird kind of sequence, tries to mac on Gonzo's girlfriend, Camilla the chicken. And so they get into it. And so then, in a bid to save his own life, the turkey convinces the Swedish chef, yeah, you could have me, but look at this, and shows him Big Bird. And so there's a little kind of sequence where the Swedish chef tries to knock Big Bird out.
The turkey's got the exact same voice as Rizzo the rat.
Well, it's the same. It's Steve Whitmire's the same actor.
It was making whatever. Because the first time I remember seeing Rizzo was Muppet Christmas Carol. So I was thinking maybe Rizzo as a character hadn't been created yet, and then you're like, no, Rizzo predates that. Blah, blah, blah. And then Rizzo turned up in this, so she was proved indeed right.
Yeah, I looked it up because I think his first appearance was the Muppet Show number 418, which was 12 years before Muppet Christmas Carol, which was 92, so it would have been 1980. Because I was thinking at least the late 70s, early 80s. So I did get to be like, wait, no, see, because that voice actor did things and stuff, and it made me feel quite wise.
It's a bit of a weird choice that, you know, either the guy who voices Rizzo has no range when it comes to voice acting, or they decide, use your Rizzo voice. And he's like, are you sure I have these voices I could use? And they're like, nah, no one will give a fuck, just Rizzo.
Yeah, but Frank Oz has a pretty recognizable tone to his voice.
You can usually tell when Frank Oz is doing a character.
Oh no! How unprofessional.
This is going to be paused.
Yeah.
Well, that was exciting. We're going to a birthday party on like Sunday.
My mother-in-law called. My little nibbling Naomi is 1 year old. Well,
yeah.
She is today, but they're having a brunch for her. So
we're going, and she's
gonna
gonna make
make
key lime cheesecake.
No, key lime cheesecake fudge.
Key lime cheesecake.
Well, there's not really the cheesecake. The cheesecake part is implied. It's basically key lime fudge with a crust, really. But anyway, so Christmas. No, so it actually, as a framing device, it works pretty well, because people keep showing up, and Miss Piggy keeps calling in that she's in various places on her way up as the storm worsens.
Yeah, she was off doing glamour shots, and then she had to go off and do shopping, and then her limo kept getting crashing in the snow, and then finally she magically turned someone into the White Witch from Narnia.
Yeah, she does. She shows up on like a husky drawn sled, because Doc had gone off to look for her, and he has like a Canadian Mountie uniform, and for a second I got it confused with another Muppet Christmas special where John Denver turns up.
And yeah, you're like, I'm not sure if this is one where John Denver turns up. And I was like, seeing as there's a couple of minutes left and John Denver hasn't turned up, I think we might have the answer.
Oh no, and then I had to say, well, it was so sad after he died, and she said, what? Because...
Oh, I only heard about John Denver when he actually died, because it was like in the news, like, singer John Denver has died. And I'm like, oh, I guess there was a singer called John Denver.
He's a singer, and because a lot of our viewers are probably maybe too young to know who he was. I want to say it was the late 90s, early aughts when he died. Although it could have been mid-90s for all I know, but I can't really remember. But he and some friends and family or fellow musicians were on a small plane. It was like a private plane, and something happened, and the cabin slowly depressurized. And so they all lost consciousness, and then they all died. And the tower had been in communication with the plane, so they knew for about the last 30 minutes that the flight was basically flying dead. And I think they scrambled some police copters to follow it because they just had to wait for it to run out of gas and crash. And I just remember like hearing that in the news and thinking that was like the most morbid thing, that there was a plane just full of dead people just flying on its scheduled flight pattern until it just ran out of gas.
Langoliers.
Kind of. But yeah, Christmas. Like there's a part where Robin the Frog, who is Kermit's nephew, discovers in the cellar a little hole to Fraggle Rocks. They go down to Fraggle Rock and have a song there.
I saw a tweet today, just because you're thinking about, Muppets and Christmas, because, they did Christmas Carol. Well,
that was another favorite.
According to someone on Twitter today, I don't know if this is accurate or not, because a lot of people say bullshit on Twitter, but allegedly the amount that Scrooge pays Bob Cratchit every week, 15 shillings, translated into today's pounds, is the almost exact same amount of money that the government gives out in universal credit.
Seriously? Guys, if you're American or you're just, another nationality other than British, just Google universal credit because it's a clusterfuck. It's a serious clusterfuck.
Yeah, basically they've been getting rid of the existing benefits, replacing it with this new one and it's been paying people much less and sort of throwing people off it. And basically the UN has told the UK off for being shitty to people.
See, if I was thinking, I would have, when I have 2 shillings that came in the till, because they're about the same size as 10p's. I like them. They're shillings. They're pre-decimal money. Like it. But yeah, so no, it's really good, and I even turned to her and said, "See, this one was actually good."
Well, the Muppets are. I do like the Muppets, and I even voiced to her my fan canon that Janice from the band is the trans Muppet. I don't know why she's trans, but I've decided that she is.
Fair enough.
And my 2 favorites were in there. Animal and Beaker.
Nothing.
I don't think you can have 2 Muppets who are more diametrically opposed than Beaker and Animal.
Beaker and Animal are both loud. Yeah, but in different ways.
They're both, personality-wise, they're completely the opposite sides.
I always liked Kermit and Scooter. Because Scooter was just a very everyman kind of Muppet, and so was Kermit. He was just very hapless. And so, but I never really realized before that, so Kermit and Miss Piggy are coded as a couple, as a straight couple. But they never refer to each other as boyfriend or girlfriend or, anything like that. That's just weird. And then I was thinking with how dominant Miss Piggy is, if Kermit was on Twitter these days, he'd probably get called a beta cuck.
It's ironic considering Miss Piggy doesn't have eyes for anyone but Kermit, so he can't be a cuck.
That's true, yeah. But cuck doesn't really mean cuck anymore. It just kind of means like guy that I think is lesser than me, kind of.
I listened to a podcast today.
I promise this is about Christmas, I promise.
In the 1830s, there was this guy from the South called something Potter. Can't remember his first name. But basically because he was not allowed legally to have to. He challenged a guy to a duel because this guy like slept with his wife or something, and the guy refused because Potter was working quite poor and the other guy was like quite rich, and so he's like, I don't have, you're not my equal social standing, so you don't have to, so I don't have to accept the duel. So this working quite poor guy basically was saying like, and he kidnapped. This guy was a congressman. Mm-hmm. He kidnapped him and he held him for like a week, and then he finally released him. But Potter ended up getting elected. I can't remember. There was various things happened.
Something happened.
He kidnapped a congressman. He ended up getting voted into Congress, and then finally, he got this. That was the first time people, were basically fucking with him. This guy who was just deeply angry that he was not considered equal to other white people because he was horribly racist, but he was just like he didn't like being subordinate to other white people. But then you had a situation where he his wife was sleeping with someone else or something like that happening.
He just should have divorced her. She's sleeping around.
He ended up kidnapping and castrating rich white guys, and his legal defense was that he was not allowed to challenge them to a duel or to have that accepted, so therefore his manhood was impinged, so therefore he had to this was self-defense to impinge their manhood in a worse way, and he went to jail for 2 years only for kidnapping, because castrating a rich white guy was technically not a crime, they discovered at that point. And so he ended up winning his re-election to Congress while in jail.
Christmas.
So apparently there was a term that grew out of this guy called Potterize.
Okay.
I don't know exactly what the meaning is, but I assume it's being a malignant douchebag who does horrible things to other malignant douchebags.
This Christmas, castrate your sexual rivals today. But no, it was really cute, and something got me at the end because we taped it. And you'll know, if you're of my generation, that you tape something off TV, you very rarely were there holding down the record button. So usually you'd program the TV, okay, the show that I want to watch is on from 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock, say. And so the VCR would tape 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock. Like now, if you TiVo something, like if there's like an advert at the beginning and it goes 2 minutes over, the TiVo will just, or do they even still use TiVo anymore? God, they probably even don't. If you digitally record something, it'll record the program and stop when the program is over. But so you'd oftentimes lose the beginning or the end of something that you taped just because the time didn't match up. And I said, okay, right there, that's when the tracking lines would kind of start dancing across the bottom of the screen, and then it would cut over to whatever was next on the tape. So I never actually saw the little teeny bit at the end where Jim Henson is standing in the kitchen watching everyone, singing We Wish You a Merry Christmas, and says to Sprocket, well, I do love when they enjoy themselves. Come on, let's do the dishes, Sprocket. I was like, oh my God. He'd be dead in 4 years. Christmas.
He had a beard.
He did have a beard. But yeah, so there are some good ones in this, and there is going to be another Jim Henson special.
There is good Christmas material, like George C. Scott's Christmas Carol is really good. The Muppet Christmas Carol is good.
Oh, really? I had that on VHS.
Christmas Carol, like Shakespeare, is good. You can compare the different versions, so you can almost ignore the script and just see the differences.
I did that once in the very, very, very early days of the internet. I had a live journal. I was saying on another friend's Facebook earlier, she had a discussion about it earlier this week, and I said, the fact that no one will ever find my secret cringy live journal from the early aughts is what helps me sleep soundly at night. No one will ever know. It was so cringy. But I actually did when I fancied myself a blogger, and this was maybe 2001, 2000. No, it was 2000. Oh, no, it couldn't have been live journal. Yeah, no, it was, because I got my live journal in 2002. That's when I started it. I fancied myself a blogger, and I actually watched a whole, every single adaptation of Christmas Carol that I could find to compare and contrast. Mickey's Christmas Carol, Mr.
Gallister Sim one?
No, these were kids' ones. Muppet Christmas Carol. Because everyone's taken a shot at it, really. Although, I think I like the Muppet Christmas Carol second best to Mickey's Christmas Carol. That will always be my favorite, because that was the one that was always the one that I watched. There was a Bass Rankin animated one, The Stingiest Man in Town, which I think it was on our list last year that we did, and I think I might have discussed it. I have like a really scary association with it. I might have had a nightmare about it, but I know. But that was the first one where Kermit was voiced by Brian Henson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can compare. You can see what stylistically the makers were going for, because the scripts are usually so similar that you can see the differences in other ways. It's a useful filmmaking thing to look at both of them. Other great Christmas things like Nixon and Hogan Smoked Christmas.
No. Well, in Disney's Christmas Carol, they leave out the parts where the grave robbers are talking about him.
Yeah. Well, the Disney one was like much shorter, wasn't it?
Yeah, like basically it's the two of the weasels from Wind in the Willows are grave diggers discussing about how no one turned up for his funeral, no one liked him.
Mm.
But in a lot of versions you do have the Undertaker, and then the woman who robs his grave, and then his business associates are just basically showing up for a free lunch. And that, I think one of the versions I saw when I was little that was not the Disney one, had the woman who stole the sheets off his bed and they were still warm because the Undertaker had just taken his body away, and that kind of scared me when I was little. But yeah, normal versions have that.
Yeah.
Christmas! It's happy! I promised. I've actually never seen Scrooge.
You've never seen Scrooge?
I don't like... I have a confession to make. I think Bill Murray's only mediocre, really. I don't get the hype.
Scrooge is great. Scrooge has the best version of the Ghost of Christmas Future.
Is it a robot?
No.
That'll be awesome.
It's or the death, or one of the best on-screen deaths.
It'd be great if it was a Dalek.
It's wonderful. It's really tall and thin like usual,
Mm-hmm.
and it's got like the mask thing over, but it's in place of the face. It's like black, but then it turns on. It's a TV screen because Scrooge is a TV executive, and so it's sort of like
that's pretty cool.
It was really, really cool. And then he's got like these demons sort of in his ribcage. Because Bill Murray is convinced this is actually the version from a TV version of Scrooge that he's putting on. He's like, and he pulls up the thing. It's actually these demons like in the ribcage and all. It's done pretty effectively. I mean, Scrooge is a wonderful updating of it. And hilariously, they got the made-for-TV trashy Scrooge that they're actually making at the time is almost identical to the one that the actual American TV did several years ago with Kelsey Grammer. Just an embarrassingly ridiculous shit going on. And the casting, it was just, it's amazing.
Still like the idea of a Dalek as the Ghost of Christmas Future. Celebrate! Celebrate!
In the Scrooge, the Ghost of Christmas Past is a taxi driver who's played by someone, I can't remember. It's not Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers, but he's a bit like Flea.
Mm.
And then the present is like this violent ballerina played by the second grandmama from the Addams Family.
Oh, right. Yes. Wow. Yeah, that was the thing in the Muppets Christmas Carol. It was the Ghost of Christmas Christmas Past was not an established character. It was a character for the movie.
I just realized something.
Mm.
They're standing for Tiny Tim. Bob Cratchit is this woman called Grace, who's played by Alfre Woodard, who was in Star Trek First Contact, and her son is silent the entire time. I think he's meant to be Spectrum.
That'd be interesting.
I never realized that until
when was Scrooge done?
Scrooge just came out like 1991, 92.
It wouldn't have been
actually late
Spectrum.
80s, early 90s.
It would have been classic. Well, what would be classic autism now? Well, what used to be referred to as classic autism in nonverbal.
Yeah, he was nonverbal
because there really wasn't a spectrum. I realized that the way this blanket is, it's my Mexican blanket. It was knitted somewhere in South America, and I got it at a shop in the mall in America that sold like hippie kind of stuff. But I realized that the way that it has it like that, it does look like a rabbi's prayer shawl. So I keep adjusting it just to make sure everyone knows that I'm not being like culturally insensitive.
This has got wolves on it, and it's fluffy.
My cousin Liz was studying to be a rabbi for many years, because women can be rabbis, depending on what denomination you're in.
Anyway, this was decent.
Anyway, Christmas.
I could do without all the Christmas bullshit and the singing and whatnot, but having all the Muppets turn up with Sesame Street and the Fraggles was cool. Well, although, no, there weren't any doozers, and I like those little guys because they build stuff.
Yeah, but, there's only so much that they had time for.
They could have put doozers in there.
They could have done it, but they probably could have done it, when there's, the really bad holiday clip show, I'm like, that reminds me of the Christmas we did that, remember?
Or even...
Oh, right. Clip.
No, it would have been as easy as... Because Kermit goes into the Fraggle place, and he hangs out with the Fraggles. He just looks around, and he just sees, off the side, there's a doozer building something, and that would be one shot. That's all that would be needed.
There's probably some reason why they couldn't.
Well, they didn't think of it, or they didn't.
I highly doubt they didn't think of it. It just might have been there wasn't time, or there wasn't.
Yeah, I understand it. It's just like I like doozers, and I would have liked it if there was a doozer.
Well, get ready because the next one that we watch tomorrow's will be
doozy.
No, it will. I would never use the word doozy. That's one of those like old lady words.
What or Fox News presenters like Steve Doozy.
Whatever. No Fox News either. No, it's gonna be another Bass Rankin Christmas special.
Ras Bankin. Ass ranking.
It's gonna be one of the live.
It's gonna talk about people's asses and then rank them from poor to best.
I think she's gone a little bit like off the deep end. It's just all the Christmas. It's just too much excitement. Santa's coming soon and she just can't handle it.
Satan Claus is gonna be awesome.
Do you know, I saw on Twitter today, as an aside, that there was one town in Illinois where the Church of Satan sued successfully, and so their statue is now part of the Christmas stuff that's up in
Good.
I love it.
Under American law, you've either got the law, as far as I'm concerned, on the way American do law, either everyone gets to put a thing there or no one does.
Totally. If Satanists want to put up a thing, I mean, the thing is that this is not like on church property or anything like that. This is on like the town hall, so that is public property.
That's secularism. Everyone gets it or no one does.
Yeah. So if you want to have a statue of Baphomet, go for it. Like
good.
Yeah.
Although I do like the way the Satanic Temple that they will come up with these things just in an effort to make them stop doing it. So whenever they're actually taken up for these things, they're like, holy shit, it worked.
We saw a movie years and years ago.
They're using copyright. They're using trolling techniques for political good.
DCMA takedown on Nativity.
Sorry, no, I was trying to use the word copyright troll, but it's the same sort of deal as in someone's trolling that sort of thing.
I just like the idea of a copyright takedown on like Jesus.
But they're doing it in politics. It's good.
Right. So we'll see you tomorrow night for night 4 of Christmas Inc. 2. And I promise you, a Bass Rankin Christmas special.
There is, did you know in the pound shop that's around the corner, there is an entire selection of £1 Christmas-related films, including one that stars Patrick Stewart, and at least 3 or 4 that include entire casts of puppies. Just letting you know.
Jingle Dogs?
None of them are called Jingle Dogs.
Oh, it's too bad. Merry Christmas! Christmas, yay!
Happy Saturnalia.
Nope.